Hello, and welcome to another day of Arizona trails to Philippine tales. Now, I was watching some videos online, and just other people that would like to go to a foreign country, and what they end up doing is they sell all of their assets and get prepared to then go ahead and move to a foreign country. Now, I myself, I have sold my home in the state of Arizona, but there's certain things that really you should keep. You don't want to sell all of your assets. Assets is what gives a person all their wealth. It's not about how much money one makes. It's about the assets in which they purchase that have value, that gives wealth to that individual. So you definitely don't want to get rid of all of your assets. Another thing, when traveling to another country or living in another country, definitely you do want to have a inflow of money. So if you're retired, most people get a pension, and then that's what they use in order to sustain themselves in spending. Well, how do you access your cash? How do you access your money when you're in a foreign country? Well, this is where some of the assets or things you want to keep in the United States. One of the things I realized is basically you have to have a bank account, and I would keep your bank accounts in the United States. Basically, as United States citizens, we are taxed because of our citizenship, not because of the place in which we live. So no matter where we are in the United States of America, and we go out and live in other countries, we will be taxed as United States citizens, regardless of where we live in the world. Most other countries, they actually tax you based on your living, where you live. Now, how do you access your bank accounts? Well, usually what most expats will do is they'll do wire transfers, or they'll just take money out of the ATM machines. Now, wire transfers usually will have a fee or a charge, and it can be greater than what your ATM fees would be, depending on how many times you withdraw. Now, usually ATM cards, the funny thing about those is that you actually are limited on the amount that you're able to withdraw. So what I'm going to actually have to do, and most people anyway should have multiple bank accounts, not just one bank. You don't want to keep all your eggs in one basket. But if you do have any sort of what I would call finances, basically what you want to do is I'm going to have to spread out my payments. Now, payments usually, like in my case, is done through a brokerage account, and then I'm going to have to divide that brokerage account into multiple ways of what we would do here is multiple accounts that you actually transfer from and to, and that way you take an ATM card into or different ATM cards for each one of the banks, and then use that to withdraw from. Usually ATM cards you can take out anywhere from about $500 a month to $1,000 a month, so it's not very much. Wire transfers are usually used for major purchases like buying vehicles. So you definitely want to keep your bank accounts. Now, question is, what is tied to your bank account? Well, of course, your telephone numbers are. So when you have a telephone number, that is connected to your bank account. So you definitely want to keep your United States bank account or telephone numbers, so that way if you are in a foreign country and you start making purchases, then of course you're going to get a call or a notice or a text from your bank and they're going to request, you know, hey, did you make this purchase or not? So that's a thing to keep as well. So keep your bank accounts in America, keep your telephone numbers from America. Now, what happens if you do sell everything? Well, you're losing your established connection, because what do we do as Americans? I mean, from the time that we're born, we're given a name, a number, an address, and pretty soon, as we develop that in our lives, turns out all these documents and things are what makes up our identity versus the person themselves. I mean, really, a person is supposed to be the true identity, but really all these representations or IDs now makes up a person's identity. So you have to hold on to them. You have to hold on to your IDs, and I guess that's what makes you you now. Now, another thing I noticed is in establishing an identity, it's hard to break away from that. The nice thing about the Philippines is, again, it is a cash society versus a digital society. So you almost have to be a hoarder of cash. When you're a hoarder of cash, it's not tracked, unlike the digital currency that a lot of people have nowadays. You know, everything is done digitally, and I would imagine in the future the economy is going to be such that, you know, maybe you'll get what is that called now, universal basic income. So maybe the government will create a digital bank account for you and tell you what you can spend your money on, and maybe even give you a time limit on spending that money. But in the Philippines, I'm hoping to, whatever my assets are, to withdraw and maybe hoard that cash to the point where if I hoard the cash, then maybe I can collect it. It's almost like the days of where you put things in your under your mattress. Put money under your mattress, and once you put money under your mattress, then of course, you know, you're able to save that money for a rainy day. But so again, I would not put money in a foreign bank. I mean, you could. I mean, really, as I debate with myself, what is the best course of actions to take? I know another issue that came up was, since I do have a brokerage, most brokerages also require or request that you have a residence in the United States, and that is because if you have a residence, that's easier for tax purposes, of course, so you can be taxed on your earnings. So what I had to do, I just spent, matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, I went to my home state of Indiana to get my driver's license for the state of Arizona. And it was I had to get my driver's license for my childhood home that I grew up in. My grandparents purchased the house, and my father lives in it now, and of course that will be my house after my father passes. So I am the third generation of an address or a residence within the United States that I am claiming. So as a claimer of an address now, I can use that for my brokerage account as having a residence within the United States of America. I can pay my taxes and owe the government what they want for the money in which I receive. But I figure that as time moves on, I'm going to have to find a way to dismantle those bits and pieces that a lot of us as Americans cannot afford to get rid of. Matter of fact, a lot of times expats will go to another country And the biggest issue that comes up is healthcare. Well, what they think they are going to do is hop on an airplane and fly back to America to handle any health issues that might arise. Well, you know, when I talk about same goods, same services, that includes healthcare. I think we've sort of been programmed to think that America has the best healthcare, best doctors. But the thing is, a lot of the doctors that are trained here in America go back to their home countries to provide the services in which they learned here in the schools. So same kind of healthcare, same kind of resources, same kind of services. Might as well get healthcare in the foreign country. So as long as you got healthcare, as long as you got money and assets, that's what's going to provide you the wealth. And then as long as you got wealth in there, basically you're okay as far as survivability is concerned. But again, what can I do to break away from the assets that are tied to America? So one, selling of the house, maybe getting rid of some vehicles, establishing a residence that can be claimed by you. Not necessarily, I'm not paying on the home that I'm claiming residence to. It's already been paid for. It's been in the house. It's been in there for 3 generations now of being owned, and it's now on my identification from the state of Indiana. And then I'll also use that to transfer to a license in the Philippines, of course. But I think I keep that driver's license. It's not something like in the United States. I know when you go to another state, they actually confiscate your other state's license. So basically, I had to give up my Arizona driver's license for the Indiana driver's license, which is fine because, again, I no longer own a home or a residence in the state of Arizona. And so that's where I'm at there. So as far as assets are concerned, keep assets that are going to be worth value to you, especially if it gives you money and resources. As an American, make sure that you keep your American bank accounts, keep your American telephone numbers that are attached to those bank accounts. Withdraw money from ATMs, do the occasional wire transfer for big purchases. Anything else that are depreciating assets, by all means get rid of those. You don't need those anymore. Keep all your appreciating assets, and then hopefully use that income until you get your pensions, or if you do have pensions, add that to the pension price, and you should be able to survive quite well in maintaining a survivability economic structure in the Philippines. Like I said, I'm basically going to be looking at this from a point of view of going to the banks, getting money out of the ATMs, trying to survive as best I can, and do that. So that's good. I'm quite happy with that, and I just want to hopefully give a thought to those that are willing to leave the United States with some kind of assets. Don't sell everything that you have. Definitely sell homes. Try and get some money that you have to use as a startup fee within the country, because it does take money to start up in a place in which you decide to live in. All right, I think that's enough of my ramble for today. So topic again was to sell or not to sell. What do you do with your assets? Keep appreciating assets. Get rid of depreciating assets. Think about how you're going to get that money when you arrive to your foreign country, whether it's through an ATM, whether it's through wire transfer. And again, hold on to some assets within the United States, and then hopefully later on break free of that and maybe little by little sort of ease into the country that you are in and maybe even become a citizen. Boy, wouldn't that be something if I became a citizen of the Philippines? All right, I'll leave you with those thoughts, and thank you again for tuning in and seeing a video of mine from Arizona Trails to Philippine Tales. Have a great day. Bye-bye.